Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. I have another knife on the table today, this time coming from Artisan. This is only my second knife from them and the first time they've been featured on the channel. A few months back, Knife Center ran a sale on this knife as it was being discontinued, so I managed to grab it on a pretty great discount. Without further ado, the knife in question, the Ray Laconico design Small Centauri. On first impressions, this is a small little guy, coming in at just under 4 inches closed and just over 6 inches when it's fully open, featuring a blade length right around 2.5 inches. For reference, we can see what this looks like up against some classic knives, such as my famous QSP Penguin, and then also the Kaiser Drop Bear. It's kind of weird because in hand, this knife seems so much smaller than it really is, but when we compare it to these, it actually matches up pretty nicely. I personally think this knife has a rather kind of classy look due to this bronze pivot collar and matching bronze pocket clip. I've kind of been treating this knife like I would one of my slip joints as a secondary backup blade in my ADC. Alongside a large modern folder, I like to carry a small slip joint as a backup blade for food prep or smaller tasks, and this is slotted into that category nicely. I have a Case Sodbuster Jr. here, and we can see in comparison, they match up pretty well, and I've really enjoyed carrying this small Centauri as it's very similar to a slip joint, but it's easier to access one-handed. So I really like it, and it's fit in my EDC nicely. I personally really like this model as it features this nice denim micarta handle scales. And they were originally pretty fuzzy and kind of rough, but fortunately have smoothed down quite a bit after some carry and use. I still much prefer Kaiser's micarta, but I still prefer this over G10. One interesting thing to note is we have this micarta backspacer that's made out of the same denim micarta as the handle scales. I don't think it's really necessary, but I really like this inclusion as it just makes it feel a bit more premium and finished. Right by that backspacer, we have a small spot for a lanyard should you wish to go that route. And like I mentioned previously, we have this nice bronze colored steel pocket clip that matches that bronze accent around the pivot. And though it isn't exactly deep carry by any means, I still like it as it features kind of a cool design due to this curved and interesting shape. It's a little bit different than a standard pocket clip. I will say though, if you don't like the position of this clip, you are simply out of luck as this is only set up for tip up right hand carry only. The knife has one main deployment method, and that is by this front flipper tab. If you've watched any of my previous videos, you may know I'm not a huge fan of front flippers, yet this one might be the best example out there due to its small size. I'm able to get a good grip on the knife and flick it open without too much trouble. The tab is pretty high on the pivot, so once you get a good purchase, it should fly open without much issue. There's some nice jimping on the tab here, so your finger should lock in, making it all a bit easier. Don't get me wrong, I can still fail the deployment, but it is a rare occurrence. As it's running on bearings, it is pretty smooth. With the blade open, it's easy to see the Ray Laconico's design influence. The knife follows this kind of sweeping curved line, and I find it pretty appealing. We have this nice stonewash blade of S35VN with very little branding, just the Artisan logo on the show side, and then the model number, steel type, and designer name on the back. This is coming with a drop point blade, which is my favorite and came absolutely razor sharp from the factory. Honestly, might have been the sharpest knife I've ever seen new, and it was truly hair cutting sharp. The blade is locked in due to a liner lock, and though it may not look like it, you actually have pretty good access and can access it pretty easily. Once the lock is disengaged, the blade falls pretty easily due to those bearings. Once you get that front flick down, it becomes actually rather fidgety to play with. Unfortunately, this knife has now been discontinued, and your best bet to find one is now on the secondary market. For just being the second Artisan knife I've ever handled, I'm honestly pretty impressed, and I need to check out their other offerings. Once again, this has been the Artisan Cutlery Small Centauri. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to help out the channel by clicking the like button below and subscribing. I'll catch you on the next one.